on this next one, we're gonna do a bias strap. So we need these. So I mean, like, I cut 3, but again, I cut it bias and 1 inch width. So we're not going to use all of these, but I'm just using them as backup. So it's always good to have extra just in case you make a mistake. Alright, so the length of these aren't really that long because we're going to be making a sample of a bias strap. So it's around 22 inches long or so, yeah. So don't make it any longer. We just need 1 or, well, 3 of them just for samples, and in case you make a mistake, you can just get another one again. Alright? So guys, here is our bias tape. It's a dull charmeuse. So I'm just giving you a sample and how it's done with a really nice slippery fabric. Okay? So we're gonna make a 1/4 strap. Alright? So since we have 1 inch width, so this is the face side, the nice shiny side, so that, of course, we're gonna have it in the inside, while on the outside, you can see now it's 1/2 inch, right? So with the 1/2 inch, we will basically just, as much as possible when you do sew it, try to keep the seam together like that, and then we'll sew 1/4 in the middle. Alright? So I started that in the other side and then I just stopped so that I could just explain everything for you guys. And this way it's my starting point, so I don't have to have difficulty in trying to put things together. So I'll show you guys. I did sew up there the 1/4. So as much as possible. Don't pull your fabric again. Do not pull it. Just as much as possible. Keep it in place, but never pull it, or else it will overstretch, and we just want to avoid that first. So remember, it's a 1/4 seam allowance. Carefully. So it will be a spaghetti strap basically. So you have to be very gentle and careful with the bias tape. Needle down. So I can just fix the bottom. So you can also do this with a cotton fabric, yeah, any fabric, but just remember not to pull it. Okay, you can see that the stitches look good. And then, yeah, I'm gonna finish this, I mean, till the end. So at least it has a nice look to it. And then I'll show you how to, like, bring it inside out. Yeah, without a loop. See, I'm tapping it down and just trying to hold it in place so it does not, does not mess up the seam allowance. done there. And then what we have to do, just also try to cut that a bit straight. So you have to be careful when you're sewing a slippery fabric because it tends to, you know, slip out of place. So what we're gonna do is cut a bit out of the seam again so that it doesn't bunch up when we flip it inside out, alright? Because that would be too much fabric trying to go through a tiny hole, the tube of this spaghetti strap. So slowly just cut a bit out. Don't cut towards the seam because you're just going to ruin the sewing. So slowly just cut a bit out. You just want to lessen the bunchingness of it when you flip it over. Okay. So you can see that, right? I removed some of it out, so that's what I need you guys to do. Until the end, okay? Alright guys, so now that we're done doing our strap first, now we have to turn it inside out. So you will need a needle and a thread. So the thread is doubled, so I tied it doubled, okay? So, sorry, can you see it? So that's my needle, and yeah, I tied a knot in the end. So it has to just be long enough that you can scrunch the bias strap into it, okay? So in total, let's see how long. I mean, it depends with you, but just don't make it very short. So this is like 13 inches long when the thread is folded in, so that's 26 inches in total, okay? So the step is to get your, so you can see that's the one end, right? And then this side here is where the seam is, and let's just go a bit up. So on the side that there's no seam, I want you with your needle So I want you with your needle to sew just like a bit, as you can see. I punched a hole through that part over there on the inside, alright? And then I pull the needle out, and then I sew in the same punched hole again. I do it 2 more times, okay, so that it is secured and it won't go loose. So we do that, pull it, and then one last time, put it through, and we pull it, okay? Now that it's secured, as you can see, we get to the side of the needle eye, where the thread passes through, right? So with that side, I put it inside the tube of the strap, okay? So as you can see, I'm just bringing it inside. So this is another way if you don't have the bias tape loop. It's an instrument that you use to bring straps like this inside out. So what I'm doing is just scrunching it and then pulling until I reach the end. But watch as I go. I'm really pulling it. And my needle is here. So we're not using the pointed side because it will just punch a hole through, and then yeah, so always use the needle eye side to pass through so that you don't have any complications. And as you can see now, it's like turning into some weird spaghetti like twist over there. So that's okay because that's the thread, and that's fine. So you can also make your thread longer if you want instead of 26. This is just what I did. So okay, and then now we're at the outside of the other side. So just pull the whole thing out as much as possible. The needle that I'm using actually is for embroidery, so you can use a regular needle. You don't need a long needle, embroidery needle, okay? So now that we got that, so you can see everything's twisting, that's okay. That's fine. So you hold the other end, okay? So this is where we started, and then this is where the needle is now at the end of the tube. So as much as possible, slowly, you have to slowly hold because it's gonna start folding in, and when it starts folding in, it's gonna eat up there. It started eating up the bias tape. So this is actually pretty fun. So when you pull enough on the other side here, so you're pulling, I'm pulling, okay? So slow and easy. Always hold the other side so that it can have stability. So you guys will have fun doing this, and you're like, wow, I can make things with this kind of technique. So, and then this is me just pulling some more and showing you guys. And complication? No complication, just there we go. So now you can see it just really popped out of the tube, and this is what, so again, slow and easy, just pull things out. So it is important to, when you do so, there you go. So now you got your bias strap, your spaghetti strap. So it's 1/4, and you know, you can put it in a dress, it can be a detail. So this is a good technique to know, guys. Look at that. And then when you're done, you can just cut out the thread as well over here. So that you don't need anymore, right? That's why it's always good to make the bias strap a bit longer, because sometimes you don't know how it's gonna really lay out. So yeah, there you go. Bias strap 101 without a loop to help you, but just your needle and thread. So there you go, guys.